Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Eye Opener Society. Gosh, it's been a little while. There's been so much going on behind the scenes now recently. It's been a little bit harder getting in touch with Lizzie with her schedule and the 2 hour time zone. And if you haven't known by now, I am in the process of moving. Once I move and I get my studio once again, it's going to be so much easier and I could provide content whenever I want, however I want. But now it's on and off. And because of that, this little bonus episode that you're going to hear is introducing someone else that I found on TikTok. If you can imagine, I'm finding so many wonderful people on TikTok that I want them to have a voice. And our guest today is going to be no different. She's going to be standing in for the times when I need somebody to talk to, when Lizzie's not available, and I need that extra co-host because, like I said, I always wanted to have somebody on standby anyway that's part of this collective that has the same thought process and who could just flow with a conversation. So I want to introduce to you Sierra. Sierra, say hello to Eye Opener Society.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We was sitting and we were actually just having a conversation off air. That was great. I was just doing to, kind of loosen us up. And I found it quite amazing just how much you think like I do. You got those same types of beliefs and all. And I was really flowing with it. I could definitely talk to you for days and days with that. But I wanted to give people a little taste of just what you are about and just what it is I think we are all trying to convey because we speak the truth basically and we try to get that out to people, but some people, they don't listen, you know? And I know you fall into that same exact category as well. And we had some good conversations. We covered aliens, we covered relationships, we covered religion. We actually had like probably 8 or 9 different podcasts in our little conversation. So, what is the one thing that really bothers you the most when we were talking about how people are in the matrix and they just don't realize it?
I think what bothers me the most about that is what you were saying before is someone can sit there and watch like something like Fox News for hours and hours on end and just get so consumed in propaganda. But the second that someone starts talking about calcified pineal glands, they're like, "What's that?
Mm.
What's the pineal gland? I don't know what you're talking about. Can you just put on the football game?" Just like of that nature, that part really annoys me, and I know that that's probably something I need to reflect on, like, I have to understand that a lot of people do live in that box, and it's not their fault, so I shouldn't get annoyed, but I think that piece itself, frustrates me. It can frustrate me, yes.
Yeah, and it is frustrating because once you have your eyes open, and I know you had mentioned that, and you don't go back. You see things now in a way where it's all open and it's so much more clearer to you. And you're trying to explain it to other people that are trapped still in their box. And it's not like you're trying to convert, 'cause I hate that myself. I don't wanna push anything on people myself. I don't wanna tell them, "Well, this is the way it is, the way it has to be." But knowledge goes a long way. And even if it's something you don't normally listen to, even if it is the pineal gland and or whatever it may be, why not take a moment to ask the questions and say, what is it? What are you trying to tell me? People get so shut off with this, and it makes it
It's
difficult for us.
ego.
It is ego for sure. But it hurts us because we now have to go and seek out those that are on the same wavelength as us just to have a conversation. And then you're stuck every day dealing with people who just see the world as the matrix and are just living off the propaganda and the mainstream, and that's all they want to live off of. So I get you on that. Um, but I know when did you have your awakening? What was it that actually opened up your third eye?
Oh, man, so what started it ultimately was a breakup, a betrayal. Last November, I was with someone for 9 years, and I got cheated on, and that was probably the worst pain I've ever been through in my entire life, aside from other things that I've been through. And when I went through that, I started a 12-step programming called Adult Children of Alcoholics, and I just hyper focused on that for, I don't know, like 6 months. I went to a meeting every single day, sometimes 2 meetings a day. And that program, it's really about reflecting on what's wrong inside of you, because when you grow up in a dysfunctional or alcoholic home, you really focus on what everyone else around you is doing, and you're very hypercritical of yourself and others. You tend to attract people that have substance abuse problems. You tend to have a victim mentality, and then you attract people that need to be saved or rescued, and you confuse love and pity. So I was really focused on, why am I attracting people like that? Why do I have this victim mentality? Why do I feel like I can never be wrong, and I'm so, like, just, like, in this state of mind to where I feel so isolated, but I want closeness so bad, but I'm so isolated. So that was kind of what started the shadow work. And once I started doing the shadow work, I started, like, doing research on the spiritual side of things, because ACA, you kinda have to get in contact with a higher power, and me as the person that I am, I was not going to go with Christianity or, like, those type of mainstream religions, because I had known that, there is something else outside of this, because of other things that have happened to me in the past. And so I started doing research on that. A few more months go by, I start seeing stuff about the pineal gland on my feed, because I was researching spiritual stuff. And Joe Desposito, I believe his name was, I watched Rewired by him, and that's all about taking our mind and being conscious of our subconscious mind and doing research on that. So the manifestations of actually, like, believing that you can do something and already, like, acting and presenting that you're doing something will make it happen in real life. So then obviously that transmutes into third eye. So I get into the third eye type thing, and I'm like, okay, like, how do I open this third eye if it exists or whatever? So I stopped drinking fluoride. I bought a reverse osmosis filter. I stopped eating nasty processed food. So I'm eating, like, really healthy and drinking a lot of water. And then I started going boxing too. So I'm getting mentally well, physically well, and now on top of that, that extra layer of spirituality. So now I'm embodying this truth, and I'm thinking, feeling, and then acting out everything in alignment. So my thinking, feeling, and doing are all in alignment. Like, I'm not thinking one thing and saying another. I'm not feeling one thing and doing another, you know? So then I realized that that's basically Buddhism. Okay, so I'm a Buddhist at this point, because I'm at my third eye chakra, because I've already worked on the three other chakras through ACA, the root, solar plexus. Those chakras are about trust and learning to trust your intuition. So that's all that shadow work bullshit, right? And then you go up more and you get your heart chakra. That's another story, how I opened that one. That happened without me knowing. Um and then you go up and up and up, and here I am. And here
That's
I am.
yeah. You are. You're here, and you mentioned, yeah, you are embodying mind, body, soul. I always talk about that. We can't be healthy with just a healthy body. We can't be healthy with just a healthy mind. We need all three in alignment in order to truly be healthy. And then that healthiness helps us to think much clearer and see things in a way that we would have never really focused on before. And that's why we start to wake up and we start looking more at spirituality, what it means to us, and how it guides us. It's different than religion, where religion, we're on a script, and that's what we're
Mhm.
doing every single day. We're
Absolutely.
following this script. Spirituality, we're concerned more about ourselves and what's going to make us better in life. And I see that you've done that. And I know you have a complex life. And I've seen all your content on TikTok. So why don't you tell me what your TikTok handle is so everybody knows?
Oh man, I I went with a niche of spirituality at first, like a lot of Alan Watts content. That's kind of what I was going for. But I have a lot of hobbies and I really like to do a lot of different things, so I don't really necessarily want to have a niche. I guess my niche is spirituality and adult children of alcoholics programming. That's a very not common niche, so I kind of incorporate it in such a way, but I also play guitar, I like to draw, I like to read, um, I like to make people laugh. That's something I'm oddly really good at. Um,
Hmm.
I just like being funny and, like, I think of things throughout my day that I feel, "Oh my god, that'd be so funny to post. Let me record some content real quick." Um, so yeah, I think it's a good mix of, like, things I like to do, and then the Buddhism and spirituality gets a lot of traction. It gets a lot of traction, and with that traction, I can also promote, like, the things that I like to do as well. So, like, the guitar playing and the drawing and, like, the humor that I have, the music that I like, all that stuff. It's all kinda just blending together without me really realizing it. Like, last night, I was playing Fable on the Xbox. I am not, like, my content is not gaming,
Mhm.
but because I'm playing Fable, like, that's my favorite video game. I'm waiting for Fable 4 like like a kid at Christmas right now because I've waited for that sequel to come out for 10 years. Fable 3 was released in 2010, and we're still waiting for Fable 4. So, okay, so let me roll in my Fable content to prep for Fable 4 now. So I'm gonna replay all these games and, like, record snippets of that. So it's just kinda like it's all coming naturally. It's weird, like, once you mind, body, and soul, like you said, and you are your authentic self, we are able to create, and we just naturally know what we should be creating for humanity to see, if that makes sense.
Mhm. It is, and what is your, TikTok handle, so people can find you?
It's Sierra Earth 26.
Sierra Earth 26. So go on TikTok, find Sierra, follow her. Because like I said, you're gonna hear more from her. And I would love to have you, like I said, as that co-host that, fits in when we need to. And at some point, I would love for you to have your own podcast, when you're comfortable, because I jump at people really quick. I said, wow, somebody's got something to say. I'm feeling it. And then I make that offer out there, but you were not ready to do an actual podcast show yet. But I said, that's fine. You know, the more we do it, the more we start having these little conversations, I can almost guarantee you're going to probably wind up wanting to jump into the whole thing because at some point you're going to say, I really want to say something. And you're going to have your own show to do it, and I have the whole platform ready for you.
I know, it's not something I've ever been like, "I want to do it," but I think naturally when you start getting, like, online and comfortable and stuff, content creators, they typically do get, at least the ones that have something to say, that have things that they want to get out to people, they eventually do the podcast. I with TikTok, it was weird because I've always really been against social media, like, my entire life. I did not get back on social media until my breakup. So I would periodically go on Facebook, and then I'd deactivate it for, like, 6 months at a time because back then, I was very like, "That shit's bad for your brain. That is tracking me. I am not gonna be miserable. I'm not gonna be depressed. I'm not gonna fit into this norm where I'm glued to my phone." So, like, once my breakup happened, I was like, "Okay, I'm living alone. I need to be able to connect with people and not isolate." So I got all of my social media back. And then with the TikTok thing, I was always against TikTok because of the attention span thing. I was like, "That is crazy, like, I'm not gonna sit there and scroll through videos." But TikTok is a completely different type of social media platform because it's basically like Facebook, Instagram, Amazon, and Google all in one platform.
Mhm,
So you have shopping, a search engine optimization, pictures, videos, and you can keep up with what people are doing right there. So
mhm,
it's like all of these social media platforms condensed into one, which is why it's doing the best and why ultimately it probably will gas out all the other social media platforms. Because
mhm.
people aren't even on Instagram anymore. I mean,
Right.
they are, but it's just everybody's on TikTok now.
Mhm.
That's all it is.
Yes, and I enjoy it because, like I said, I find so many people on there that have very similar ideas. It does the algorithms do match you up with the things that you're actually searching for. And I've become accustomed to it. And like I said, I keep finding decent people. And hey, every time I do, I want to bring them onto my platform. And I'm glad I found you. I'm glad that did
Likewise.
the work. Yeah,
Thanks for
absolutely.
having me.
You're very welcome. And like I said, we'll try and get you on a few more episodes, start to build up, since you haven't done any kind of podcasting before. And like I said, we just have conversations here. That's basically what it is. But I wanted the world to hear you, to give you that little bit of your first little shine out to, the podcast world.
I do
And
appreciate that, I really do. It was nice to have someone I've had a few people reach out, but sometimes I get a feeling where I'm like, "No," but with you, it just felt natural. It felt like there was a connection. There was a intellectual connection. So, I said yes right away,
I
you know?
appreciate that.
The
Yeah.
intuition was like, "Yes," with you.
Mhm.
With some people, I'm like, "I don't really know if I want you in my bubble. I don't really want you
I
in my
get it.
vicinity."
I get it, and that's how I work. I do. I work with just simply using my intuition, saying, "Hey, this person really has something to say," and that's when I reach out. I have to be 100% comfortable before doing it as well, and I'm looking forward to you coming on too with Lizzie and I, and maybe have a three-way conversation too as well in the future with certain topics. And that's the whole thing. There's topics that you may feel or even we may feel you would have more input in, and then we'll get you onto the show and we could have some really, really good talks. And I'm looking forward to that. So I want everybody again to go see Sierra at Sierra Earth 26 on TikTok, follow her, and look out for more shows with her. And in the meantime, don't forget, every Monday we have our full episodes with Lizzie and I, and also the shorter attention span podcast that I do. I hope you're all enjoying those as well. Sierra, I want to thank you once again, and I really appreciate you coming on with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks.